Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Cal here from Omniscience Gaming. And before we get into anything today, I'm just going to go ahead and throw out there I am feeling pretty sick. So if my voice sounds different, that is why. Anyway, today we are doing a review, as you can probably tell by the title, of the 112 Tier 8 Chinese Premium Medium Tank. Now, again, before I get into this, if I sniff during this, don't mind it, it's just me doing stuff. Alright, so jumping straight into this, we have the health at 1,500 hit points. For tier 8, that's fairly standard. I mean, the direct comparison to this thing would obviously be the IS-6, the Russian tier 8 premium heavy tank. And I believe that has... okay, that has 1,550 hit points. So, you know, it's not too far off. The signal range on this thing is 600 meters. The the IS-6's signal range is 440, so that is not bad at all. The speed limit on this is 45 kilometers an hour. For a heavy tank, that is pretty fast, and I can tell you this thing gets up to 45 kilometers an hour fairly easily, actually. The IS-6 can go 35, and it rarely does that. Speed limit backwards is 15 kilometers an hour. That's alright. My particular loadout I put on mine is vertical stabilizer, gun rammer, and a wet ammo rack. And that comes out to a total of 47.06 tons out of 49. So it's a fairly heavy tank. The IS-6 can, of course, weigh up to basically 60. Let's talk armor. So the whole of this thing is 120 millimeters thick on the front, and if you look at it, that is a very, very, very sloped back 120 millimeters. I'd say that's going to be about between 180 and 200, and if you can get this thing, say there's a corner of a building right here, if you can get this thing at an angle about like this and hide your weak side armor, because it is only 80 millimeters, you can hide your weak side armor. This thing is impenetrable, I'm so sorry, to most tier 8 tanks. Now, most tier 8 tanks, because the ISU-152, man, I don't know about that thing. Please nerf wargaming. Alright, so the IS-6's whole armor is 100 millimeters at the front, so this thing does have arguably better hull armor. Side armor 80 millimeters, rear armor 60 millimeters, you know, crap. The turret. This is a funny old turret. It's got 240 millimeters of turret armor, and that is everywhere but these two cupolas here. These things are basically automatic pen zones. I believe they're like 30 millimeters thick or something. So it doesn't really matter if you hit it right here, as long as you have more than a 90 millimeter gun, you are going to penetrate. On the side, it's got 130 millimeters, so that's basically from here to here. So this area here is 130 millimeters thick. If you don't think you can pen it, just shoot it in the side armor. Don't shoot it in the tracks. Shoot it in here, because up here is actually more armor than 80 millimeters, because, you know, it's got all that spaced armor there. That's more of a Russian thing, but again, well, this is sort of a Russian copy of an IS-3. I'm saying that with air quotes, but of course you can't see that. And on the rear of the turret, it has 60 millimeters of armor. The IS-6's turret has 150 at the front, 150 at the sides, and 100 at the rear. So less at the front, much less at the front. That's a weak spot, actually, on the IS-6. If you have more than 150 millimeters of penetration, which even this gun does, and we'll get to that in a minute, shoot it in the turret. Not in the gun mantlet, but in the turret. So, more armor on the sides, and of course, a lot more armor on the rear. Engine power. This thing has a 580 horsepower engine for a 47-ton tank. That gives it like around a 12 horsepower to ton weight ratio. The IS-6 has a 700, I believe a 700 horsepower engine. Don't quote me on that. That should give the IS-6 at 6 to 10 like a 13 and a half. No, like, it's about the same actually. But this thing will get up to 45 kilometers an hour on hard terrain, not soft terrain, because that's never going to happen, really. Traverse speed on the whole is 26 degrees, same as the IS-6, surprisingly. That's not actually that bad. It does not feel like 26 degrees per second. Hard terrain resistance is 1.1, medium terrain is 1.2, and soft terrain is 2.3. Interesting fact, by the way, this thing has a 12% chance of fire, while the IS-6 has... Hold on. We're going to go look. What does the IS-6 have? I think it's 15. Yes, 15% chance of fire. So, it's fairly uncommon to get set on fire in this thing if you get shot in the engine. I think it's time to talk about the elephant in the room, this thing's gun. 122mm D25T-A. If you're a Russian tank driver, you'll be very familiar with that D25T 122mm gun. Just, your standard 122mm Russian gun. It's got 4.55 rounds a minute. I believe mine has a reload of like 11.23 seconds, and that's with an almost fully perked up first perk crew. I don't know how you say that. It's got 175 millimeters of penetration. Compare that to a tier 8 medium tank with 203 millimeters of penetration. That's not very good, but I still managed to do well in this thing. The IS-6 has pretty much the exact same gun, so it does have a monster 390 alpha damage, so that is actually a pretty good perk for this thing. 0.46 accuracy, that's god-awful. 3.4, sorry, aiming time, again, god-awful. Penetration on the heat, by the way, is... Whoopsies. Penetration on the heat is 250, so that's good. Penetration on the high explosive is 61. So, what can we say about this? It's got... I believe... Should it say right here? It does not say right here what the damage per minute is. I don't want to do the calculations. If you want to go do that, by all means go ahead, but I am way too lazy to do that. That's like over 2,000 damage per minute. Yeah, I think so. It's a good gun. Okay. Non-premium tanks usually have better guns than this thing. If it weren't for that penetration, this would be one of the best guns at tier 8. If you go over to, say, the IS-3, which is a great tier 8 heavy tank, the BL-9 on this thing has 225 millimeters of penetration. This is bad. This gun is bad because of the penetration. If it didn't have that god-awful penetration, then it would be a very, very good gun. Now, I believe this thing has like 6 degrees of gun depression, or something along those lines. Alright. Here's the thing. This is not one of those tanks where you just want to be driving over hills and shit. This is one of those tanks where you take this thing into a city, if at all possible. If not, you find a place where this thing can go hull down or get its hull angled. No hills or rises and dips and stuff. Because this thing's got elevation and gun depression. Well, it's a Russian knockoff, so it can get its gun down to about there, and it's gun up to about there. or so in there. So yeah, don't get this thing into hills. It is not very good at that. All right. So the reason why I put the vertical stabilizer on a vertical stabilizer on this is because with that top speed and the 26 degrees turret traverse, you're going to be moving this thing around a lot. And this is not one of those tanks you want to remain stationary in because it's got bad accuracy. You fall behind the fight, you're going to miss. So just put a vertical stabilizer on there if you're going to be playing it like I do. That adds 20% accuracy during turret movement and rotation and stuff. Tank gun rammer, that's obvious. Get that reload down, and the wet ammo rack, because I believe the ammo on this thing is stored at the front similarly to the IS-3. Should be stored right in here, I believe. Don't quote me on that either. I should really do my research on this stuff, shouldn't I? Alright, so for crew skills, I would go ahead and put on Sixth Sense to the commander, obviously, Deadeye to the gunner, off-road driving for the driver, and intuition on the loader. Because this thing does have an 11-second reload, and if you really, really, really need to just reload a different shell type, intuition is great for that. And you want to get that soft terrain resistance better. And I believe that is basically it for the stats. Let's go ahead and hop into a game. Alright, so this is the game that we're going to be looking at in this thing. Word of warning, I was not paying attention. As you can see, I almost drive into the river right there, but I go ahead and catch myself. I'm gonna go ahead and head up this sea line for now, and then I'm eventually going to go ahead and circle back into the town. As you can see, I do have the auto drive thing on, so I was looking at my phone during this game. It's just something I do when I'm just playing for shits and giggles, and that's what this game was essentially supposed to be. Just having fun, basically. After that E25 is done spamming the map, here is going to be our first engagement. This is going to be a very, very, very important one. This Lush right here, man. Oh, damn. I rammed him for 106. And just take him out, because you don't want to let the scouts survive. Just being friendly, saying hello to him there in the chat. And I press onward. I don't really want to go across there yet. Just to make sure there's nothing gonna shoot me in the flank, and then I just decide, you know what, let's go for it. Let's go ahead and head up this little incline here, and it looks like we've made it safely. And if I don't crash into the snowdrift there, we can inch our way up this thing on a very narrow path here with water on one side and a building on the other. And this is what I was talking about. If you can get this hull angled and hide your side armor, like I'm not doing very well. Hold on a minute. Did you see where that shell landed? Landed under the tank. I was aiming for right here. The shell landed under it. That is that .46 accuracy. Anyway. There is an IS there, and it looks like he has the 100mm. There's Russian armor for you. There is no bias, says Wargaming employees. That IS just hit me in the track, did not damage. I set him on fire, which, you know, I take back the Russian bias statement. So there is my second kill. Very important one, because that ISU can pen me, and I don't really want him to take off half my health. So here's fun right here. That was a very poorly aimed shot, actually. Deserved to bounce. But if you keep this hull angled with that 100mm gun, he will never penetrate. And I can honestly say I don't know why that didn't pen. But He's now firing high explosive at me for some reason or another. Looks like the Type 59 is going to get another shot into him before I inevitably finish him off. Luckily, there wasn't a very strong push into the town this particular game. There usually is. I guess they really didn't have very many heavy tanks. They only had one, and that was it. So, I noticed that there is a T-43 behind me who decided to sneak in there and try and have some butt sex with us, but no butt sex for you, T-43. Well, actually, maybe some butt sex after all. Would you just look at that? And that is our 4th kill. We're going to go ahead and come up here. We have a Type 59 on 1,000 health. VK2801 almost dead on our team. Tiger 1 half health. We have a 68% Comet and an 88% E25 facing down with another E25. Our Oni fires, hits the wall. I'm not paying attention here. I'm actually typing. And now I realize, oh, hi. Set him on fire. He obviously had an automatic fire extinguisher. That's Type 59. So you gotta expect that with these things. And there's the kill, number 5. They have one Type 59 left. He is about to get killed, I believe. Yes, he does get killed here. Their E25 is just died. At Type 59, there's no way he's getting out of this. Talking to one of our Type... I thought we had 2 Type 59s, I'm sorry. I'm talking to our Type 59 in the chat. Just, you know, having a nice conversation. That doesn't usually happen in World of Tanks these days. And the last tank alive is a lonely M44. He hits us. We hit him. There is a Top Gun. So here are the end plates. We have a first class mastery badge. That is the first one I've ever gotten this tank. We have a demolition expert, fire for effect, arsonist, master gunner, duelist, bruiser, 3,574 experience, 57,008 credits, a top gun, and a high caliber. Go over to the team score. We did 2,704 damage. We blocked 320 by armor, made a total profit of 39,425. That is not bad at all. And, you know, we total traveled 1.74 kilometers, so that's good stuff. We received 7 hits, 4 penetrated, 3 did not. So if you like a look at this tank, go ahead and pick it up in the World of Tanks gift shop. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.